Hey guys, so today I'm going to be looking at people who had the wrong assumptions. Yeah, let's just get right into the video. One time in Japan, I asked an old lady for directions in Japanese. I was still a beginner, but I tried my best to speak in their language rather than asking stuff in English. So this lady assumed I spoke very good Japanese and started chatting. I tried telling her I couldn't understand, and everyone else on the bus was trying to hide the laughter. The conversation went on for 10 minutes and I still have no idea what she was saying. She was very nice though. So the old lady carried the conversation. You know, the old lady was just chatting away. Even though the person's like, I don't know how to speak. Talking for 10 minutes to a stranger is kind of long. I'm just shocked that she didn't find out before the 10 minutes. My ex-wife was convinced I had another family in another state, simply because she heard a kid's voice in the background when I was traveling for work and sitting in a restaurant once. During divorce depositions, I once spent a full day being questioned, and half the questions were slightly different wordings of, so you have another family, child, spouse, kid dependent, etc. Oh, that's why she's the ex-wife. No trust at all. You know, he's at a restaurant. If you hear the waiter gonna be like, hi sir, how are you today? She's gonna be pissed too. I was at a dinner party and people kept offering me drinks that I continued to decline. Eventually, one woman's eyes lit up as she looked between me and my husband and then asked, oh my gosh, are you pregnant? Everyone around us got quiet and I laughed and said, no, I have epilepsy. I was handed no more glasses of wine after that. Oh my gosh. I feel like if you don't know for sure if someone's pregnant, just don't ask them, you know, don't do it. Like, you don't have to ask them that if you really thought they were pregnant. You know what I mean? If you see someone and you're like, oh, she looks like she's pregnant, just know in your mind and be like, oh, she's probably pregnant. You don't have to ask it. I feel like it's just offensive both ways, you know? Like, if someone's not pregnant, then you're implying that they're fat or something. And if someone is pregnant and you ask them if they're pregnant, then they're gonna be thinking like, oh, you don't know that I'm pregnant even though I'm this big, so you think I'm naturally this big. I feel like nowadays people just get offended both ways, so just don't even talk to people, you know, just don't. I live in a very Hispanic Latino area and one woman heard me speak English and yelled at me for not speaking Spanish, calling me a traitor to my ancestors and bringing shame to my past family history in Mexico and Puerto Rico. Imagine her surprise when I told her I was Arab and Middle Eastern. Still felt guilty for not knowing Spanish for some reason. Just don't assume someone being a certain race when you don't know. I sound like a major nerd and often talk to work contacts for months over the phone before meeting them in person. I've lost count of the number of times someone has told me they thought I had glasses, but my vision is perfect. That's funny. When you sound like a nerd. How do you sound like a nerd? What the heck? Wow, so people have already painted an image of him in their minds, you know. This dude sounds like a nerd, he probably has glasses and braces and all that, you know what I mean? It's so dumb because I feel like people still think just because you have glasses and braces or whatever, you're automatically a nerd. Like, that's the stereotype, right? Had a friend I was crushing on that I felt liked me too. We were talking online one day and he had to go to work. He says I'll be back later and then get to spend more time with my favorite Asian. I asked, who's that? For as long as I knew him, he thought I was Asian. Once he found out I wasn't, he ghosted me. Well, I'm glad he ghosted you because you don't need that person in your life, you know. Don't like that kind of person. What the heck? He only liked you because of your race? You're kidding me. Back in college, I started this job as a delivery driver cashier at this Japanese restaurant. My first day there, I was being trained by a girl that worked there who was around my age. Most of the kitchen was Mexican or from somewhere in South Central America where they spoke Spanish. As she is training me and teaching about the orders, I could hear comments from the back that were in the line of, oh, I bet they're gonna hook up. And they want each other. It was funny to me because it was a bunch of grown men gossiping like they were in high school. I didn't really get a chance to talk to them because I was so busy learning the ropes, so I stayed quiet. At the end of the day, the owner asked me if I could drive the cooks back home since it was on my way. I agreed and we all got in my car and I asked them in Spanish how to get to their place. They were all awkwardly silent for a bit, but then they started laughing and said, "You speak Spanish? Well, why didn't you say so?" It became a light-hearted car ride and I enjoyed it and their company. We all became friends during my time working there, and I would often drive them home because I enjoyed talking with them outside of work. Oh, this is kind of wholesome, you know? Like, at least it didn't go the way that we were thinking it would go, you know? Thank gosh. They became friends. They became good friends. My girlfriend and I are in a different part of the state visiting her parents. She gets 7 missed calls and voicemail from the state police. We call back. A wanted man fitting my description is staying in a hotel of the same type in our same room number. My girlfriend registered the room under her name, so the cops assumed she was shacked up with this guy and we were trying to give them the slip. We go back to the hotel that night and she goes upstairs while I have a cigarette out front. I see the woman at the front desk walk out into the lobby, recognize me, stop dead, and immediately turn around. I text my girlfriend. They totally think I'm that guy. To be fair, I have a big beard and I'm wearing black head to toe, including a black leather jacket. I stand out in this part of the state. Sure enough, not 5 minutes later, there's a knock on the hotel room door. I knew it was a state trooper before I opened the door. He asked me questions, hand on his gun, foot in the door, clearly assuming I'm this guy. I show him my ID. He writes down the information and asks me questions and writes down the answers. He keeps saying, "You really do look like the guy we're looking for. Sure you're not him?" When I tell him I live in a different part of the state and prove it by reciting the address on the ID, he stops writing, looks at me and says, "So you're just visiting for a few days, happen to be staying in this type of hotel, in this room, and fit this guy's exact description?" I say, "Yeah, I don't know what to tell you." He gives me back my ID and on his way down the hall turns and looks back at me and says, "Promise you're not him?" Apparently they really thought they had their man. "Promise you're not him?" "Promise, stamp." How cute. "Promise?" Oh my gosh, that's crazy though, the coincidence, you know? They look like this guy, they're staying at this hotel, they're staying in the same room as that guy did. What? I'm so glad nothing went wrong though, you know? Because I felt like they really could have thought that it was him and then arrested him or something. People in high school assumed I was gay, based on, I'm not actually even sure. And it wasn't even like them being curious. They straight up assigned that sexuality to me and refused to believe otherwise. The things they will use as proof were some of the biggest stretches I've ever heard. One time they took a look at my nails and were like, "You paint your nails, you're clearly gay." My nails weren't painted. It just didn't look like I clawed my way out of a hole with my bare hands. I'm sure some of them still think I'm gay years later. The reality of the question is that I just don't talk about the women I'm interested in openly. It doesn't seem like that should be anyone's business except for mine and the woman in question. That's so rude. Assuming someone's sexuality, I feel like that's so rude. Like, you know how some people are like, "Oh, it's so obvious. It's so obvious that they're this sexuality." Well, you don't know, okay? You don't know. Even if they were, that's still rude of you to assume. Like, if they were, let them come out by themselves. You know, you don't have to do your thing by telling everyone when they haven't come out yet. You know, that because I'm Asian, there's no way I could possibly have been born in America. What? Do a lot of people think that? Oh, that's weird, eh? That I am clever because I like to read and wear glasses. Then they see my grades and are really surprised. It's just like how some people think all Asians are smart at math, right? My mother-in-law assumed I couldn't cook, even though I've been cooking my entire life and enjoy doing it. She always insisted that we go out to eat when they visited, to the extent that she would ruin our family plans because she was that adamant about not eating at our house. Until one time, after about 3 years of being together, my husband refused to eat out and insisted that I cook. After eating, she turned to my husband in surprise and said, "Wow, this is really good. I didn't know she could cook like this." My husband looked her dead in the eyes and said, "That's because you never gave her a chance, and she's a better cook than you." He just said that to his mom. Holy moly. Jeez, she's a better cook than you. Oh my gosh, I don't want to die, okay? I feel like he should have just ended it at, that's because you never gave her a chance. And I'm glad you did now. Why did he have to add she's better quick than you? Usually my age. I've had people guess 15, 17, and even 12 once. I'm almost 31. I want to know your secrets. 31 and you look 12. How? Well, that's it for the video. Hope you guys enjoyed. Tell me in the comments down below what your thoughts are. And as always, thanks for watching. Hope you guys liked it. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye.